Hey everyone, James from TeaDB here, bringing you another Inbetweenisode. This is the first Inbetweenisode I've filmed in a while. Finally got through my backlog of releasing episodes with the Monku one. So going to be filming a bunch more, so if you have any suggestions or ideas, open to those as well. Excuse me, getting over a cold here, and this tea is actually kind of suitable for that. So going to be drinking some ripe tea, just some good, inexpensive, reliable ripe tea, and also going to be talking a little bit about how I select ripe tea and what I go for. Obviously, a lot of that is shaded by what I like and my own personal preferences, and so your mileage may vary depending on that. But basically, and I think a lot of you could probably read between the lines that have been following a while from the types of ripes that I do tend to bring on into these in-betweenisodes, is I do like dye ripes. I think that's sort of like the reliable, I'm not sure if it's the gold standard, but that is kind of like the standard for good ripe. They're probably the factory most associated with ripe tea and that process. So I tend to bring on a lot of those teas, and I like those teas a fair amount. I also like the ripe productions that are usually selected and pressed under the labels of Yunnan Sourcing white tea, so I'll do those too. And of course I like traditionally stored ripe, which is a lot of the ripe episodes that I brought on over the past year or so, thanks to Eon, and just bringing sort of greater accessibility towards those sort of teas. So today, actually, I'm going to be reviewing one that is outside of actually all of those categories just a little bit. And it is a Haiwan tea. Haiwan is one of those factories, and if you've sort of read up on a few of the factories, a lot of the bigger factories that are not like Munghai or Shagwan were formed kind of in like this 2000 to 2005 range. Haiwan is one of those, done by a lot of like ex-Munghai Tea Factory personnel. Also a very familiar story, you can read that in a number of places. But it is notable because the founder of Haiwan was one of the people that sort of created and invented ripe in 1970, mid-70s basically. And so they have heavy associations similar to Munghai Tea Factory with Munghai area. And ripe tea as well. So I decided to check it out. My experience with them has basically been, they're similar to Munghai Tea Factory. I enjoy them. I do tend to prefer actual dye productions in general, but I've never really minded, so because I drink ripe pretty regularly, I knew it'd be something I could get through. So this tea is a big cake. It's a 2018 Haiwan Old Tree, I don't believe that for a second, Remote Mountain, I think is what the name is. Picked it up from Yunnan Sourcing about a year ago. I think it was about $38. I think it's like a few extra dollars now, but it's a big 500 gram cake, so dollar per gram wise, you're doing pretty good as far as this tea goes, even getting it from, even just buying it through a party that besides Haiwan. So yeah, that is enough talk. Let's get drinking. Probably made it through about half of this cake, which is 250 grams, so that's actually quite a bit. And initially I actually didn't think all that highly of this cake, but I've let it sit, I've let it rest, it's sort of acclimated to my condition slowly. I'm not sure if it was dried out or not, I didn't measure that, but it has, I've come to enjoy it a fair amount. And for me, it's sort of does rank amongst sort of like those Munghai Tea Factory recipes. So picking this up from Yunnan Sourcing, his description basically describes it as a blend with a mix of tippy, medium, and larger leaves, which, you know, doesn't say a whole lot about the tea. It's a blend, but you sort of expect that for these sort of big factory productions. So you just kind of judge it based off of the merits. I would say it does basically have that sort of Munghai area taste, which tends to be my preferred region as far as ripe tea goes. Woody, creamy. I would say this is not on the heaviest end of just like richness or anything like that. Maybe you'd expect that a little bit more from like a really tippy ripe or something like that. For me, this tea is a little more balanced, so you get like hints of not fruit, but maybe a little more complex sweetness. Of course, it tastes, it's very much in that ripe category. So if you are someone that likes ripe, you might like this tea. Yeah. So yeah, my opinion of this has slowly risen over time. I'd still probably rank this sort of like mid to lower tier Mung Hai Tea Factory in comparison, but I like those teas. So, and even like lower tier recipeed Mung Hai Tea Factory teas are perfectly drinkable for me and easily pass the speed test. Okay, so you saw me make another one there using my big old reliable blue pot, which is slowly coming apart with this lid here. I ordered a replacement, but it's not here yet. Yeah, I'm using about 9 grams, 175 milliliters. Pretty standard parameters for myself. And these teas also tend to be my go-to as far as, recovering from a cold and stuff like that. The profiles are not overly complex, and I don't know, kind of that darker profile, I guess, and that hot liquid just really helps me to sort of get, all that mucus out of your system. At least that's the way I see it. Teas that are a little bit heavier on the aromatics and stuff, you might miss out a little bit more when your senses are not at their max. So not bad. Not bad at all. It's, yeah, as I said, it's sort of in that, like, there's more texture and more minerals to it. It's soft, but it's not that soft as far as ripes go. Yeah, and it's good. It's woody, creamy, just about everything you expect. Very drinkable. And yeah, so gonna give this tea a 5.8 rating. I will probably finish off that cake. Probably not a reorder, but 95% of ripe that comes across my way is not a reorder. So that's nothing atypical as far as the tea quality goes. So yeah, good tea. I will keep my eyes out for more Haiwan teas. I can't say this like totally reshaped my view of Haiwan, but they make good quality ripe teas, I know, because they have good associations with the region I like, and they have ex-personnel from kind of that standard of making ripe pu'erh. So hope you all enjoyed this episode. Let me know any questions, comments. Have you had experience with Haiwan ripe teas? How do you find them compared to dye? Do you prefer them? Are they basically equivalent? For me, at least, the price difference is not a huge reason to do it. Dye ripes, in general, are inexpensive anyways to start with. So paying like 12 cents a gram or 10 cents a gram versus like 7 cents a gram, I just don't care that much. That's a very minor thing for me. So going for the dye route tends to be preferable for me because I just like it just a little bit more. But, I'm curious to hear what other people's experiences have been with Haiwan and Mung Hai Tea Factory ripe, if you find them to be pretty similar or quite different. Anyways, enough chatter. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Cheers.